For today, we're going to be discussing how we convert in the metric system. Let's first talk about some units that we use. So in the United States, we do not officially use the metric system. Our system is the English version of units and measurements. So let's go over a couple examples. So for length, the most common one we would probably see is feet, or inches, or miles. For volume, we most often use the gallon, is the most common one. You buy your gas in a gallon, or a pint. Sometimes you buy milk in pints or quarts or cups. Weight, most often we use is pounds or ounces. And then finally, temperature, we use degrees Fahrenheit for the United States. However, in science, we're going to be using the metric system. Let's discuss the units, the most common ones we come across in the metric system. So for length, the base unit is the meter. And then everything is built off of the meter. So you can have a kilometer, a millimeter, a centimeter. Volume, the base is the liter. And just like meter, everything is based on the liter for volume. So milliliter, centiliter, kiloliter. Mass, the most common one we come across is the gram. So a milligram, a kilogram, a centigram. And then finally, for temperature, we use degrees Celsius. So in science class, we want to make sure we're using the metric system. So you will be doing a lab on measurement, and you want to make sure you're using the metric side of the ruler or the meter stick. Here again just summarizes our base units. So to measure a mass, we use grams. To measure a volume, we would use liters. To measure a length, we use meters. And then one we didn't talk about yet is time, we measure in seconds. So these are considered the base of all of our metric units. So let's do a little practice here. So let's match the following description to either a length, a mass, or a volume. So a bag of tomatoes is 4.6 kilograms. So grams is the base there, so that would be a unit of mass. A person is 2.0 meters tall. So we're measuring a length, L. A medication contains 0.5 grams of aspirin. So grams is a measure of mass. A bottle contains 1.5 liters of water. That would be a volume. So again, we look for grams, meters, or liters to know if we're talking about a length, mass, or volume. Okay, so how do we convert in the metric system? So first we have to know the order of our prefixes. So you want to make sure you record this in the table. So the highest one we're going to go to is kilo, and it's symbolized with a lowercase k. Below that is hecto with a capital H. Then we have deca, capital D. And then here are our base units. So meter, liter, gram, second. Then we have deci, little d, centi, little c, and milli, little m. Okay, so if we're talking about meters, we would have a m after it. So a kilometer would be km. Hectometer, hm. Decameter, capital D, m. Then we have our meter by itself is just an m. A decimeter is little d and an m. Centimeter is cm. And millimeter is mm. If we're talking about liters, so a kiloliter is KL, hectoliter, HL. We usually use a capital L there, so it doesn't look like a 1. A deciliter, DL, and then liter by itself is just an L. Deciliter, DL, centiliter, CL, and milliliter, ML. So make sure you're recording this in your table. And then gram, so a kilogram is kg, hectogram, Hg, decagram, capital D, G, and then a gram by itself is just G, decigram, DG, centigram, CG, and milligram, mg. And then finally we can do it with seconds. So a kilosecond is ks, hectosecond, hs, decasecond, ds. A second by itself is just s. Decisecond, ds. Centisecond, cs. Oops, I forgot to put an s there. And then a millisecond, ms. Okay, so how do you remember the order from kilo all the way down to milli? So I use this phrase to help me memorize the order. So king standing for kilo, Henry standing for hecto, died standing for deca, by standing for my base, drinking standing for deci, chocolate standing for centi, and milli with milk. So King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. And if you can write this conversion, it will help you do our metric conversions. So how do we do a metric conversion? So it requires us to be able to do two things. One, that we're able to count to 7. I think most of us can do that. And 2, know our left from our right. Okay, so we're going to go through each step, and you should have this example in your notes. 55 millimeters equals how many decameters? So our first step is we're going to draw out our conversion table. So go ahead and do this in the space provided. So King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Drawing out our conversion chart. Okay, step 2 is we want to find where we are starting. So we look at the first letter, M. M stands for milli. So we're starting at the M. So I'm going to put an S underneath my chart. Now we want to look at the first letter of our unit we want to go into. So capital D is our deca. So I'm going to put an E for end. So we're going from milli to deca. Okay, step 4 then, we're going to count to see how many away they are. So between milli and deca, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces we need to move. And we're going left. So this is going to tell us how we're going to move our decimal point. So our decimal point is going to be moved 4 to the left. So if we're starting with 56, now if it doesn't show a decimal point, it's always at the end if it's not shown. Okay, so we're going to move our decimal point 4 to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now my decimal point's here. And then I'm going to fill in any empty spots with zeros. So 0 and a 0. So my answer that I'm going to report is going to be 0.0056. So 56 millimeters equals 0.0056 decameters. So here's my answer. So draw out our conversion table, figure out where we're starting. So we are starting at milli. Figure out where we're going. This time we're going to deca. Count how many away that is. So 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left. So now let's try some examples together. So we'll draw out our conversion table. First step, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. We're going to look to see where we're starting. So we're starting with M for milli. So we're starting here at M. And we're going to just L. So remember, if there's only one letter, that means our base units. Remember, under base is meters, liters, grams, seconds. So if you see just one letter for the unit, you know that's a base unit. Okay, so we're going to count how many away that is. So that's 1, 2, 3, and we're going to the left. So we're going to take our number, 560. Remember, if the decimal point is not shown, it's at the end. We're going to move it 1, 2, 3 to the left. So 1, 2, 3. So our decimal point is now here. So our answer should be 0.560. Try another one. So draw out our conversion table again. So King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Grams. So remember, we see only one letter, so that means it's our base. So we're starting at the base, and we're going to the K, kilo. So we count how many away that is. So it's 1, 2, 3 to the left. So our number, 459. Our decimal point is not shown, but we know it's at the end then. Moving it 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3. So now our answer should be 0.459. Now our last one. Got our conversion table again. So King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. We're starting at H, hectometer, and we're going to C, centimeter. So we count. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right this time. So our number, 0.45. We see our decimal point now, so we're going to use that one. We'll move it 4 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and fill in with 0, 0, 0. So our answer should be 4,500 with our decimal point at the end. So now you're going to try it a little bit more on your practice for today.